slavery. Freedom is fundamental for Edward Said, but it's not abstract. Like Vico, it begins with the grave. He says, I am going to be an intellectual like Socrates that says unexamined life is not a life for the human. And for Edward Said, my dear brother, your dear brother, he took that seriously. He said, I am going to so thoroughly examine and interrogate myself, my society, my world, the structures of domination, the forms of oppression, but also the structures of feeling. What sets of prejudices and presuppositions are at work? Because anytime you give up assumption, presupposition, anytime you give up a dogma or doctrine, it's a form of death. And that's why humanism is so inseparable from what the Greeks call paideia, P-A-I-D-E-I-A, deep education, different than the cheap schooling that's so pervasive these days. Because cheap schooling just market-driven skill acquisition, and no. Paideia is about learning how to die, giving up certain assumptions and presuppositions and letting them go so that you undergo transformation to become more mature, more cultivated, more politically awakened, more spiritually sensitive, more morally courageous. And these are the kind of things that Brother Edward and I talked about over cognac. But this is serious talk. Because when you look at his social position, what does it mean to be a Palestinian in the Ivy League, coming out of Princeton in 1957, PhD from Harvard in 1964, going to Columbia University in 64, having friends like Lionel Trilling and a host of others who will help facilitate your tenure, and at the same time being true to who you are and still deeply in solidarity with those who are suffering, beginning with your own people. Not stopping there, but beginning there. It's so easy to be assimilated outsiders, Palestinian, black, brown, red, women, and love everybody but your own people. Because that might guarantee some success. And I love Brother Edward Said's commitment. He was never satisfied with being successful. He was concerned about what he would be faithful to. That would attempt to tell the truth. And as one of his other heroes put it, the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. For humanists, beginning with burial, linked to learning how to die into life, but be faithful unto death in the quest for truth, to allow the voices of those who are rendered invisible to be heard. But Edward Said is coming of age in a hot moment, not just in the States, but around the world. And what is most significant is he is willing to make the connection between what is going on in the American empire. American empire is center stage, uncontested world power. Only the Soviet empire in some ways competitive, in other ways very uncompetitive. And trying to reshape the whole globe in its image and for its interests, primarily corporate interests. And Edward Said says what? He says, oh, but there's a people locked into a settler colonial experiment. Complicated because it's one of precious Jewish brothers and sisters who jump out of the burning buildings of Jew-hating Europe, but they land on the backs of some Arabs, and they act as if these Arabs don't exist. They act as if there's land but no people, but that's a lie. That's a lie.